Hello, fifth graders. Welcome to our next math lesson. Today we're going to take a look at lesson 14-1. It is entitled The Coordinate System, and this lesson is going to be found starting on page 778 in your textbook. Now, this chapter, although it's not a very long one, does kind of introduce us to the idea of a coordinate grid or a coordinate plane. And although the coordinate planes that you're going to deal with later on in math class, like 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, it's going to be a little bit bigger. Today, we're just going to talk about just a small portion of a coordinate plane. We're just going to be talking about positive numbers on our coordinate plane for this particular chapter. So as we take a look at the introduction of our lesson, it says a coordinate grid is used to graph and also to name the locations of points that are on a plane. So this item right here, this is called a plane, not an airplane that has wings and a pilot that flies it. It's a flat area, a plane. And so you'll notice that this plane has a whole bunch of lines on it. And the reason why these lines on the end are darker is because these are part of the axis. This is part of the outer part of our grid. It does go vertically up and down, you notice there. It also does go horizontally. Now these lines here actually have names. I'm going to scroll down just a little bit here to show you that, for example, this horizontal line right here, this is called the x-axis. X-axis. So that would be this line right here. This is the x-axis. And when you go to put numbers on the x-axis, these are always the numbers that are going to be listed first. And we're going to talk about that on our next slide. I'll kind of give you some examples of what I'm talking about in a few minutes on that one. But I wanted to introduce you to the idea that this horizontal line, this one down here, this is the x-axis right here. You'll also notice that there's one that's going vertically. And over here, it tells us that the vertical line is called the y-axis. This is the y-axis. And when we go to write these numbers, we're going to notice that these are the numbers that are going to be written second in our ordered pair. So the x-axis ones are written first, and the y-axis are written second. Now, if you take a look at it, it almost looks like this is almost like a number line. For example, look at my x-axis. This is where my x-axis starts, and we're going to talk about the name of this part in just a moment. But it almost looks like this is a number line going across. So this would be like number 1, number 2, number 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And there's an arrow here meaning it can go even farther because number lines are never ending. So this would be going on my x-axis. It's almost like each one of these represents 1. All right, it goes up 1 every single time. The vertical axis does the same thing. You'll notice that there's lines kind of going up here. This starts at 0, and it goes up. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, so it's important to know the numbers here when we're going to graph things on a coordinate plane. All right, so let's talk about this part right here in the center. The graph, whenever you're graphing points, the place you should always start is the origin. The origin. This is the place we should always start. And the origin is this very tip right down here. I even labeled it right here on our coordinate grid. The origin is right here. This is when x is 0. So you'll see that there'll be a 0 when x is 0 and also y is 0. This is what the origin looks like. This is called an ordered pair. And we put them in parentheses just to show you that there's a first number, then there's a comma, then there's a second number. Okay, and so if I were to put a point right here, I'm saying this is the origin. This means that on my number line, x needs to be 0 and y needs to be 0. Okay, so every single time you go to graph something, you are always going to start right here at the origin. This is where we're going to start. Okay, now as I mentioned on the previous slide, the first number in our ordered pair, we call that the x coordinate. A coordinate is a number. This is the number that should go horizontally, or in today's lesson, we're going to talk about this is the one that's going to go sideways to the right. And they're going to go to the right because we're only going to deal with positive numbers this particular time. So for example, if I had an ordered pair that looked like this, let's say I had a comma, I had a 3, 0. Let's say this is my ordered pair. 3, 0 is my ordered pair. The first number, this right here, is my x coordinate. So this first one tells me that I have to go over 3 places on the x-axis. So I'm going to start right here at my origin. And I'm going to go over 3 places. Now be careful. This is 0. From 0, you got to count 3 places. So you're going to go 1, 2, 3, okay? And then we're going to put a little mark right there. And so this here, and since y is 0, that means we're not going to go up and down. That means that's where that mark would go right there. Okay, so the first number in my ordered pair, this is called the x coordinate. This is the one that's going to go sideways. So you're going to go sideways first. Then the second number in my ordered pair, we're going to call that the y coordinate. All right, so the second number here is the y coordinate. This is one that's going to tell us to go vertically. Or in today's lesson, pretty much it's going to go up. You're not going to go down today because you're not going to have any negative numbers. You're pretty much going to just go up on our coordinate plane for this particular chapter. So again, if I were to draw another ordered pair, let's say I have 0, 5. Let's say that's my ordered pair. I have 0, 5. Okay, the first number tells me where I'm going to go on my x-axis. So I'm going to start at my origin. And the 0 tells me I'm not going to move sideways at all. I'm going to stay right where I am. But then the next number is a 5, which means I'm going to go up 5 spaces. So remember, this is 0. Start from here and go up 5 spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then I'm going to go ahead and put a little mark right here, because this mark right here is 0, 5. Okay? So let me just kind of review everything we talked about for this particular slide, because our next sheet, we're going to have a bunch of examples of how to label these particular points. Whenever you're graphing points on a coordinate plane, you always start at the origin. The origin is right here. This one is always 0, 0. Okay? The first number in on your ordered pair is called the x coordinate. Then the first number is going to go sideways. So if this number is 3, we're going to go sideways 3. If this first number is a 7, we go sideways 7. If this first number is a 10, we go sideways 10. The first number goes sideways. The second number is the y coordinate. This is the number that's going to go up. So if the second number is a 5, you go up 5, and so on and so forth. Now, some people always ask me, Mr. Johnson, how do I know the difference between the two? How can I avoid confusing x and y together? Okay, and this is what I always tell students. When you say the alphabet, x and y, which one comes first alphabetically? I'm hoping by now you told me that x comes before y alphabetically. And so since x comes before y alphabetically, that means the x number is going to come before the y number. So if I were to do my ordered pair, it's always a good reminder that the x number comes first and the y number comes second, because x always comes first alphabetically. All right? So now we're going to put this into practice here. So over on the side here, I've got 5 different ordered pairs. And over here, I've got a bunch of letters at different points. And what I want to do for this particular lesson, for lesson 1, I want to know what letter is actually represented by these ordered pairs. Okay, so we're going to start with this first one here. And just as a little reminder, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little x first, and then a comma, and I'm going to put a y here. As a reminder for us visually that the x numbers need to come first. So all of these are my x numbers, and then all of these are my y numbers. Okay, and remember, x ones are going to go sideways. The y ones are going to go up. So the first number here is a 7, 3. So I'm going to start at the origin right here. I'm starting at the origin. All right, and that first number is a 7. The x is a 7, which means I need to go sideways 7 spaces first. So from the origin, I'm going to go 7 spaces to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right, so right here, this is the 7. Now, if you look over at the y is a 3, which means I'm going to go up 3 spaces from here. 1, 2, 3. And so this right here tells me that this ordered pair is represented by point H. And what I'm going to do on my sheet is put down the letter H. Now, some people might say, Mr. Johnson, what happens if I accidentally mixed them around? What happens if I accidentally went 7 up first and then 3 over? Well, if you do that, watch what happens. We're going to get a totally different point on our number line, or on our grid, excuse me. So I start at the origin. If I went the wrong way, if I went 7 up first, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then I went over 3 places, 1, 2, 3. Oh, wait, here's letter A. So some people might think that the answer is letter A, but what they did wrong was they went up first and then over. You have to make sure you go sideways first. Always go sideways first, fifth graders, and then go up second. Okay? Let's take a look at this next one. We have a 5, 5. Well, this one's kind of nice because both of them are 5. So the first number means we're going to start at the origin, and we're going to go sideways 5 spots. So let's start at the origin. We're going to go sideways 5 spots. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And now the second number is a positive 5, so I'm going to go up 5 spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And so we notice that this coordinate pair, this ordered pair, is represented by the letter B. So I'm going to put a letter B here. Okay. All right, here's the third one. I'm going to pause for just a moment to see if you can figure out which one is this one on our coordinate plane. Remember, we're going to go sideways 2 spots, and then we're going to go up 10 spots. Take a moment. See if you can figure out what that one's going to be. Okay, so let's take a look, see if you're right. I'm going to start at the origin. I'm going to go over 2 spots. 1, 2. And then from here, I'm going to go up 10 spots. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So hopefully you were able to tell me that that was point F. Let's do the same thing with this one here. I'm going to go 0, 4. Well, whenever there's a 0, that means there's going to be no movement whatsoever. So I'm going to start at the origin. And since X is 0, that means I'm not going to move sideways at all. So I'm going to stay right here. And now the next number is a positive 4, so I'm going to go up 4 from here. 1, 2, 3, 4. This one's going to be the letter G. Here's our last one for today. I have a positive 6, positive 1. I'm going to go 6 places to the right because I go right first, and then I'm going to go up 1 spot. So let's go over there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then go up 1. Whoa, Mr. Johnson, there's no letter there. Well, you know what? We get to name it ourselves. So what letter do you think we should put there? Oh, maybe we'll just call it letter Y. Okay, so we're going to say that this one is letter Y. Okay, so as a reminder for today's lesson, 5th graders, when you're dealing with the coordinate plane, you want to start at the origin, which is right here. Okay, the first number tells you how many places to the right you're going to go. And if it's 0, you're not going to move at all. The second number tells you how many places up you're going to go. And again, if this is 0, that means you're not going to go up at all either. So I hope that helps you understand the introduction to the idea of a coordinate grid. So your assignment for today is going to be doing pages 781 and 782. And I'm going to be asking you to do numbers 1 through 18. And then on the back side, you're going to cross out numbers 19, 20, and 21. So you're going to cross out those 3 numbers. And then I'm going to have you do numbers 22, 23, and 24. So your assignment is just to do numbers 1 through 18. And then 22 through 24, we're going to cross out 19 through 21. If you have any questions, 5th graders, don't hesitate to reach out to me. I'm here to help you. You can go back and watch the video to help you understand the difference between the X coordinates and the Y coordinates. So good luck on your math assignment today, 5th graders, and we will see you with the next video.